If this is the age of enlightenment, then wouldn't it be time to see that there are certain perspectives, mentality, and cultural protocols that we've all been following that have kept us sick for a very long time? And so it's just time to take a look at the different dynamics, relax, and do the work. Each one teach one. We all have a different dimension to break out of when it comes to this matrix box. So, this is Siren Buddha Medicine. Much love to you. Giving it to you raw. Good day. This is Regina's Rabbit Hole with Siren Buddha Medicine and Speaking with Wisdom. And we're talking about
integration. Is integration healthy for us in the year 2018? And has it been healthy for us? Or did it leave us more docile?
That's an interesting topic that, a lot of us melanated folks come up with, when we talk about integration. Was integration good for us?
I'll let you answer that first.
Okay. This is what I think. When it comes to evolving as a people, as a society, we call ourselves a melting pot. So, when it comes to society and what we were supposed to be, or what we already are mixed together in a society, I think that evolving would be the best place to be right now and where we should be. So I think that integration is a good thing. However, when we want to separate it and look at the history of melanated people, of black people, when it comes to integration, it has not been economically or emotionally a good idea, because part of integration, I feel, should be to educate the other people. It's a mingling, but what we have is an illusion of sanctions instead of integration, mentally, spiritually, and physically. Not only do we still have gated communities and gatekeepers locking people out of opportunity, it's due to their mentality. So we have a spiritual breach there too, because if one calls themselves spiritual, wouldn't you think that they would know that they're connected to the other things around them? But in which way? Certain people are being taught that they're connected to individuals around them in a way that gives them permission to exploit the other people around them, belittle, and doing that, you need a level of manipulation. And so that's where the mental part comes in, So we got a threefold thing coming in. Even if you take the, what is it? I don't want to call it the DMV, because it's not the driver's manual. The mental health book? Yeah, the DSM, yes. How that originated from slaves who ran away because they couldn't tolerate the abuse. And the people who felt like in their minds, they had the right to hold other people hostage and to demean them like that and hold them as property. So when their reality, their social setting was saying it's okay to do this, and everything around them was proving that this is a right thing to do. Now, if that's not insane, I don't know what is. But that was their way of integrating the Negroes into their society. and it was against our will, right? And it was set up to look like that was supposed to be a normal society. So, and that was their form of integration. So, there's a lot to look at when we look at is integration okay? It was supposed to be okay, and it should be okay at this point, all these years later, after rigging the game, right? So here we are now, and with all those things in mind that have happened in history that I'm not going into in detail, I think that integration is necessary, but true integration, not the kind of integration that they gave to us, pulling the wool over our eyes, like using us as sheep, and using the churches to to burn spirits and make us feel as if it's like Stockholm syndrome. You don't have a right to speak. You don't have a right to fix things, with the gatekeepers and all that kind of stuff. So, we got a real problem with the form of integration, or what they called integration. I don't really feel like Martin Luther King had this in mind at all, and in the economy, that's way off on what Marcus Garvey, was talking about. So what I would ask is, without changing the spirituality and the mentality, the mental references to what's happened and the historical part, how can what we call it's already integration? This is what we ended up with, a big melting pot of whatever, but it's not clear, and we don't even know what happened to us. So at this point, when it comes to integration, I think that doing what we're doing now, educating a sheep, whether you're a black sheep or just a sheep, and how do we get ourselves from being sheep, and if you're a sheep, and you're in a society that's supposed to be a melting pot, can we at least sell our freaking wool? You know what I'm saying? So, in this day of enlightenment and change, that's definitely something that's got to be changed or called for exactly what it is, and that is an environment of suppression, slavery, and deliberately intended to be that way. So this isn't the kind of integration that I believe it was meant to be. However, it's quite confusing when you add in all the other stuff and you compare America with other parts of the world that we've been seeing given to us on television and stuff, that we see that we still, even with all that said, have more opportunity and more prominent than other parts of the world. So with that being said, speaking with wisdom, what's up?
Totally disagree.
You're entitled. Let's go.
Integration has done nothing but weaken us as a people. We're more weaker now than ever. For the simple fact that when integration first took part with Martin Luther King didn't have our best interests in heart. Martin Luther King was still indulging with the other people he was put there. Just like Obama was put in place. We never knew who Obama was. And look what happened. And look what he integrated. When people say it's a mental mentality. We haven't yet dealt with our slavery, nor do we want to talk about slavery. Slavery has never ended for us. It ended in a physical capacity, but now we're in mental slavery. And that was designed by those who ruled, those who have colonized us, those who have took us by captivity, and that captivity and has captivity our minds. When we look at integration, and my mom was taken out of her school where it was an all-black school, and so they decided to say, hey, with Martin Luther King movement, we're going to take the blacks out of the school because they love us so much, and we're going to put them in our schools, and we're going to educate them, on a Eurocentric, find the word. Indoctrination.
Yeah, total integration, yeah.
And so when that took part, that was the part of them tearing us down very, very slowly. See, you can't do things at a maximum. You know, when you do things just very little bit at a time, is how you get us. And when integration took part, not only did that take part, but the feminist movement came right in the part.
Yeah, the mental part, they said it was good for us, and we bought it.
When that came through, that was a change for white women, not black women. It was white women who Eurocentric men had power over them for how long? Since slavery. So these women said, we want the right to vote, we want the right to be free, you know. And so when integration took part, then you had the affirmative action, the civil rights movement. That came for them too. That wasn't for black women. That was for the white women who white men were powering over them, and they wanted to be free because they were basically enslaved too. And case in point is, look at slavery. When white men were raping and doing all kind of atrocities to our sisters, and even had winters, those white women couldn't say nothing. They had no power at all. They couldn't say them would be a solid partner, and that's what they were. And until the 60s, they put them in power, but the Eurocentric system had a system that if they gave those particular the women a little bit of power, it would help to enslave and indoctrinate, you know, us as black people, Hispanic people. And that's what's taking place today. Integration and the mental part doesn't do nothing but weaken us, till we have our own blacks that are ready to die for a system that just doesn't work. The education system, I went to school, have my master's. Okay, so I have my master's. But on a Eurocentric tip, but for identity purposes and understanding who I am, it doesn't help build a structure for me. It weakens me until I had to go and dig deeper into who I am as a black man on the earth, a so-called black man, to find out who I really am. I had to go biblical, because biblically it gives me my history, it gives me truth, it gives me civil, moral, it gives me dietary and ceremony laws that must be abide by too. See, we as a people, it takes away from our truth, and we begin to believe the lies. America, or the United States, is built on a lie. We ain't built on truth. I remember back in the 70s when you had advertisements, you couldn't force advertise. That's all they do now. They trick people out of their money. You know, the whole system is designed for destruction. And we as a people, it's very, very sad where the men and the women and the children are living under a mask and an illusion. How can my slave master, you know, and when I say slave master, he was physically having me a slave, but now it's mental slavery. And our prove a case in point is because if I open up a store and I look for the public or the community to help, you know, help me run my store, it won't be, because that particular white person or Arab person or East Indian, because I just don't want to narrow it down to white people, but the other 6 nations that are ruling will not support me. And guess what? My own people won't support me. However, if that East Indian or white man open a store, we in there. That's mental slavery. We have to understand and go to school and understand what is mental slavery. And that's what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with physical slavery. We're dealing with mental slavery. They tell us, oh, don't talk about slavery. However, you talk about the Holocaust. You know, you talk about Hiroshima. You know, you're talking about these different things. You're talking about the Twin Towers that got blown. I mean, they keep this hope alive in memory. But when we talk about slavery, we don't want to deal with that. We don't want to deal with that particular truth, which is on physical slavery. And now we're on mental slavery. And we have our mothers and our grandmothers help us. Don't say this right here. Follow the white man's law. But they can't help us. We got our own issue that we need to resolve. And when they took us from our schools and our own little business we have, it diluted us to the point that we don't even want to open up our own business unless it's multi-million. We should have basic businesses. We buy insurance. We should be making cars. We should do things that can benefit us as a people.
And Ford company's already taken over.
So, no, it's not healthy. When you take, because a white person overall is not going to take their white child and give them any kind of black issues whatsoever. the way they do it, they might watch some TV and say, I want to dance black and I want to, wear my pants and such, but they're not going to take their child and indoctrinate them with anything black. So why the heck are we doing that? When you go to school, we got a college degree, so what? This is your set, it's for your set, but what about the education of us? Who are we? Where we came from? Why are black men and black women challenging one another and raising and to raise our families? It makes no sense.
All right, so those are some really good points, And so when it comes to integration, it's a mingling, and when it comes to mingling, it's like, a child, there's energy that comes out of it. And
like what?
Like a society. That's where we are. We're in a society. And
I was wondering, when you say mingling, is mingling healthy for us, as far as building?
You just named a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't healthy that's going on. Both of us did. Okay, and these things are going on. And so, can you stop them?
We can. We can if we put our heads together. That's why we're having the conversation, is because mingling is like, hey, you coming out. It's not saying that you say, hey, how you doing, guy? What's going on? How you doing? And then you go back, but to say you're a part of, come, let's eat, let's do this right here, it doesn't seem to work because we have unresolved issues for us as people.
And that's what for us as people. So you want to solve these unresolved issues alone, separate as a people.
We have to do that because we did
in the world with other people. And in a society that's full of other nations of people, you want to take separate. Even people in a nation of Islam that are dealing with Farrakhan, they live in their communities and stuff, but we all go out. They all go out and do their own things, right?
No, not necessarily. I mean, when you go to work,
they don't have to deal with not one other Puerto Rican or Asian or white person ever.
That's not what I'm saying. I mean, in a society, everything comes up together. But we have to go with what strengthens, because what strengthens us kills us. So we're walking around like zombies. We're walking around because we spend money like everybody else. So I should be able to go to a restaurant and see Regina. Mm. You should come and see me. I shouldn't have to go and see Billy Bob or Hoxnock or any East India. I don't see you when I go to buy my food, clothes, and water, unless I'm bootlegging something.
Now that's the point that I wanted to make, okay? We're during a time of ascension. We have this integration problem, okay? Now, if we are calling ourselves spiritual, or we're calling ourselves evolved, or we're calling ourselves enlightened or intelligent or any of those things, then we have to notice these things that we are talking about that happen, that are negative, that are horrible, the atrocities that have happened. Now, any nation that has people have their own atrocities that have happened, but here we are in America, we have to, excuse me, we have to acknowledge these things. Now, if we're mingling and we're in a relationship with one another, we're in a space where it's like, if you're a body and you have these antibodies, these things in there, they're not even antibodies. You got these things that become a part of you. There is no place to go or to retreat. Okay?
It's the mind, though.
And right, in your mind, you can be separate.
Yeah,
but that we like, that's why I mentioned the Nation of Islam. The point that I'm trying to make, let me make this point, is the higher thought. I can't evolve and even have this conversation that I want to have unless the person next to me is aware of the rest of where I'm mentally at. And so they keep us mentally in a place where that's all we're talking about. That's all that we can see is this. But until they also got, wait, I'm thinking of Farrakhan and other blacks and stuff that say, okay, the white man knows what he's doing, he's the devil and all that kind of stuff. But I know that's true, but it is also true that there's a standing program that where people are being brainwashed. Mind control is a part of our society, a part of this mixing is what the point that I'm making. And part of the spiritual evolution and part of the integration should be the education. It has to be the spiritual evolution of everybody. Everybody in this place must have a recall to their ears. Even in the Bible, it was saying how on before the last days, the story of the word will be heard on all four corners of the world. Now we know, even though.
But what is the word they're talking about? When you say that, you gotta know what it says. It says those who've been brought into captivity shall go into captivity. And all those people you're talking about, when you keep talking about Muslim, Muslim is an Arab religion that was incorporated for everybody. So
I'm talking about them only because that's one black organization that has isolated themselves as melanated and organized here in America.
It was.
And so when you were speaking of our organizations and trying and keeping it black, right, we have the Hebrew Israelites and you have the Farrakhan. But I'm not, that stuff to me is still political, okay?
It's not? All right, so let me just enlighten you, right? Israelite is not political because they say the other six nations have their heaven here on earth. We're in hell. This is hell. And how can a black person go out and see every other nation prospering but us? So how can we integrate with? You can't integrate until you have knowledge.
Say that's agnostic too. So
what I'm saying is, when you go out and you see, and you go out and walk the street and see every single business and don't see you, and then when you do something, you're put at the lowest state. That's not by our what's called, because if you leave us alone, we'll handle our business. But seemingly, biblically, we fall upon the curses. And so we're paying for our forefathers and our ancestors, believe it or not, because they didn't want to adhere to the laws. You say there's universal laws. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
But there's moral laws too. And so
all right. No.
the universal laws is you cannot tamper with water, land, and the sea, which we didn't do that because we knew better. But every other nation is doing that. The Chinese, the white, we don't even have the power to do that. All we have the power to do, excuse my French, is suck the asses of another nation. We won't stand for ourselves because if a people have lost, and we know we lost people, that means that our names, our mores, our religion, our folklores, every single thing is in. We're in a mystical time where you have this conscious and what is this metaphysics thing where you telling your mental that I can be in Chicago. What do that have to do with?
Know, those are different concepts of spirituality. They're like little small pivotal points in somebody's evolution of the way that they think, and every dogma has something different. Really can't get too much wrapped up in it unless.
But the dogma, I tell you one thing, the dogma of the Israelites is very simple. The other nations are the devil the Bible speaks of. When they say
it's
the
simple
devil,
for you may not be simple for someone else.
But what I'm saying is, when they say the devil, let's not get caught in words. Devil means a deceiver. That will say something that the devil is just a word that people don't like, and it throws off their psyche. Devil just means a deceiver. That will say it is and it's not. And that's what it's all about. You're saying this right here, it's not. We as melanated people, when I say melanated, because the Chinese are melanated, and they're Hebrew too. You know what I'm saying? But we're talking about Israelites people. We're talking about people who fit the curses in a so-called book that there's no other book that can say the curse that we fit. For example, it says, "Cursed shall we be in the cities." There are more black and Hispanic ghettos, Indian ghettos, than any other nation. You understand what I'm saying? Here, we're talking about right here on this particular United States of America. We fit the curses of, we shall have children now join them. Out of all of us, and right now, we are not enjoying our children. How can we? So when we spit, and you can say you spit them up.
Break it down, on a macro level for those curses, I was checking out Gnosticism, and on a macro level, it seems like this whole place, like you said, this is hell. Everybody got a taste,
No, everybody has not. Listen, there's not a people right that we're talking about enslavement for our 400 years because we want to go away from that. The white person didn't go through. We go. Northern Chinese.
The time is now. If you believe all those things, then you must also believe that this is the time of evolution, and that means that it's a time of karma and pay up.
Evolution doesn't mean nothing change.
Wait a second, though. I don't understand how people are paying attention to one aspect of the things, all the curses, and in the white man part. Okay, but not paying attention to the accountability part. Do we not see that it's your time to rise and pay attention to the part that you do have to play? and the reality, and that's perception. So all that, those little pivotal points about, oh, you could be here, you're here, but your mind could be in Chicago. Those are all little tiny exercises letting us know as a people that we have a higher expectations for what our reality is supposed to be and what we're capable of. If we don't, again, let the other people next to us know exactly what this is, what's happened, and what we're capable of, what we're supposed to be doing, then it's not going to get any better. If we just sit there and cry and not realize that we are people made to rise to this occasion, and the time is now. There ain't no more, I can't do it anymore. Mentally, we can focus on things and have it.
You have a vast amount of black people that are standing up. Before one even make a move, one must know who they are. You can't, when you say evolve, that's what we do. The world turns, the world is evolving.
When you said the universal laws, okay, part of that is your focus, right? Well, if I'm always focused on I was a slave and what they did to me, that's the mentality that you do not want to keep bringing into your reality. The thing is, and that's the tool that we're not using, okay? The cut instead, no. Okay, that's the... Because you were cutting me off, dear. Now, his story, that is his story. Her story is like, listen to what your wife is saying. Focus on the things that we could have, what we could be, what we want to be, what we want to do, the elevated expansion of our minds. That's what we can be. But we can't do that if we're always focusing on that they beat us over the head. Now, I know that...
We seem to be in pain. And we seem to don't want to talk about that, but they're still beating us in the head.
There's a trick to this thing here.
I heard you out. We say physically they were beating us in the head, physically. Because biblically it says that we could be enslaved and hands to hands iron with yokes of iron tied around our neck. This is proven fact that we have yokes tied around our neck.
But you don't know, though.
Let me finish, though. Right, so once the yokes were finished, it's just like a dog. When you take them off the leash, they're not going nowhere. So we, in case that we dealt with that right there, you know what I'm saying? When we know we built this up, and then you say, oh, you know what? Okay, get over it. Don't say nothing.
You want him to pay in a world where no man is without sin. But this is a place of duality.
Well, let me just finish my point. When the Jews, you go tell a Jew right now that run a big vast of this world, and go tell them, oh, the Holy Christ, get over it.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that in an elevated thought, wait a second, because you keep cutting me off before I can make this
thought. So I'm
not
going to say anything, and we're going to listen to the tape, and it's a man talking, a woman talking, and I'm going to let you finish, and that's why it's a great point. So I'm not going to say anything. Say your thought. Yeah.
With elevated thought, though, Ken, okay? You can't allow someone else to snatch that away from us. We are supposed to be thinking higher than that. And that's what the problem is. That's what I'm trying to say. Please continue your thought.
How can you have an elevated thought if you're lost? If you have subconscious amnesia?
Exactly.
I did not cut you off.
We're bringing it in.
When every single other nation that we're talking about, they look at us, they already know these people right here lost. They're on la la land because we taught them to be on la la land. Let's keep it basic. First of all, where do we come from? What is your nationality? Not black as a color or my eye or all these other different things. Who are you? Because if you go to the other 6 nations that's control the world, you understand what I'm saying? They'll tell you who we are, where we come from, what happened to us, and we never let this happen to us again. But you go to us, we'd be like this, oh, peace and love and all this. And now what they did was, in the 60s when they started to do their deceitfulness, they took all of our women, and ran our men and put them on drugs and put them in jail. You understand what I'm saying? And now we have a very high percentage of women raising our children. This goes back. You have to go back into slavery, because when slavery first go back to history, because you have to go back to history, however you want to go. When you evolve, you have to go back to history. They took our men and beat the hell out of us, raped us. You understand what I'm saying? In front of our women, and so basically the natural instinct of a woman is to fear. Oh, don't say that. Say Master going to do it. right? The men become afraid, and this is the same thing now, where you have a high percentage of women that's raising our children and teaching our children a system, but what's up with us? That's why they took us out of them schools, so they can indoctrinate us. But if we just stay to our own math, science, English for us and be able to give back. Come to our stores. There's not a Chinese person or even a white person or East Indian will come and support any of our business that we open up. But yet we're on the phone now, and you see every different nationality on the phone. But if it's us, so they hear our voice, they click the phone. This makes no sense. I hear on the surface of the kumbaya, but the kumbaya, I'm not saying we should have our own. We should have our own. Period. Come and buy from us. Support me. We should not blame each other, but we'll go support everything that they open up, basketball, entertainment, movies, all this right. Even to the point everybody want to be a YouTuber now. But nobody's making no money and getting mad because they can't get views. What are you on there for? What are you doing? You must first help the people. If I can't help you, if I don't know who I am, first of all, how can I help myself? It's that with the new indoctrination is stupid too and dumb face with people getting on there all day and nothing is changing. Nothing. Marcus Garvey movement failed because what? There were no laws in place. He was a one-man wrecking machine.
The riddle here is you still have to evolve. And how do you evolve when you're under these circumstances? Thinking about those kind of things, although they are happening, is not going to get to the place where you're thinking about the remedy. To get the remedy, you got to be searching for the remedy, not the cause. That thorn was there, it's going to be there, and these people are sick. Now, what I've noticed for myself is that the locks are not in color, it's in mentality. I don't care who you are, the person next to you needs to be, to evolve in a way probably that they didn't think that they needed to before. For me, it was to stand up for myself more. For someone else, it may be to humble themselves more. To someone else, it may be to realize that they're not the beginning of all, end all of everything. You know, things don't center around them. And for someone else, maybe it's that money is not the key to everything. Maybe they should work on their heart or their mentality or the way they're looking at the world around them or the next man. This world applies to higher law. Circumstance is like a symptom, an after effect of what's already going on. Do you see what I'm saying? That's just like you keep talking about, did you lie? Did you steal? Did you fornicate? Those are laws. Those are higher laws. But there's more to it than that people are not getting to.
No, what you're saying, to me, what you're saying, you're saying higher law. There's no such thing as...
No, the way that we think. That's what the point that because it's difficult with your line of thinking and my line of thinking. I'm finding it very challenging to make them meet in a conversation that's respectful.
And it's okay, but that's...
And that's that everyone can utilize. Because this, like you said, these are things prior to us turning the tape on that are happening in everyone's homes in one way or another, depending on the way you look at it.
Because if you, listen, this is the deal. If you grew up, and I have a black father and a black mother, I should be dealing with them issues. Because if I get into the issue of being mixed up, that's what I'm going to do, be mixed up. And in this time, in this age here, we go out into the street and we walk, we see. We step into businesses where we go. It should be an even still. It should be even. It shouldn't be unbalanced.
You're right. And
so when you say evolving, we're evolving. We're going backward. We're not going farther, because if we wanted to, there's nothing wrong with if it was, hypothetically speaking, into a kumbaya so we all get along. That'd be cool in the game. However, it's not. The injustice is right in our face.
I know what happened with Tuskegee, and Wall Street, where they tore it down and they bombed, and when you try to get it up, economically there's a lot of tampering and stuff. There's government tampering and stuff like that happens, like, COINTEL and things like that. So the problem is, what are we looking at? That every time...
Education.
That's part of it, but wait a minute. Every time as a people, as a melanated people, when you get your ambitions up to go do something and utilize whatever resources are there to start an economy, someone comes along and pulls the rug out from underneath you. Now, the education is, wait a second, is government, okay? Ken, you're not allowing me to have a peaceful conversation with you. You're very aggressive, and I'm the same freaking color as you. That's part of it's our mentality, you know? Our mentality is crazy. Now, the thing is that look at these people and the mentality. That's what I'm saying. The mentality is the key, not really the color. White people can, but not just white people. We're doing it to ourselves now. What I'm saying is, you got to pay attention to the way that we're thinking. This world, we have not been taught, not just don't sex somebody up, don't steal, and don't lie, but the higher, wait a second, the higher laws of the world, like how to bring positive things to you, how to start economy before you started an economy, how to change a whole group of people's minds to keep their focus on something so that they can't come in and do things like that any longer. Realizing the higher laws and freeing ourselves, utilizing the universal laws.
Okay, so
the universal laws don't have color on them, and they don't have a karma of the. Although I know you like the Hebrew Israelite, the Bible.
No, I'm Israelite.
Okay, you're entitled to that.
Right,
and I also enjoy this part of the culture too. I'm saying I have things that I enjoy, but what I'm saying is that the focus that I'm really trying to make here, desperately, I am making. I don't know if you're hearing me.
You're dominating the conversation.
No, I'm not.
Play the tape.
Everybody's going to play the tape when they play the tape. It's just the higher laws can.
You're not letting me talk, and I mean respect, because when you play the tape, I hear what you're
saying. Fine, not the curses and stuff like that of the Bible that are speaking of the melanated people. That included too. Our pain included too. But we must include the higher laws, or there is no way out of it, period.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, when you talk about higher laws, and you talk about universal laws, we haven't damaged universal laws. When you say melanated, let's understand this right here. The Arab is melanated. The Chinese is melanated. The only one who's not melanated is the white people. Every other nation is melanated. So when you talk about melanated people, you put everybody inside that.
All right, color, now we got the logistics of color again. Let's go.
So we have to understand too, as Israelites, there's all kind of color. They say we'll be specks. So color's not even an issue either, because as you know, in the 12 tribes, you got all different kind of color people: blue-eyed, white, skinned people. So color's not the aspect. I'm not talking about color. I'm talking about knowledge and understanding self and understanding where we come from. When you put it back and evolving in education, that's why as soon as our babies are born, they're taking what? We used to couldn't go into the hospital.
Is that not mentality?
We used to could not go into their hospitals. Now we're in their hospitals. Why? We was birthing our own, came from black people. We wasn't allowed to do certain things. It started to come in. The more come in, the more that they take the minds. If I've been raised around white people or white mentality, of course I'm gonna have that. When I grew up, my mother had me grow up with all ethnicities. In New York, you grew up with all ethnicities. However, there were sections that I had to go to that I couldn't go to, or you were getting beat up. You couldn't go into certain sections, and they let you know. So, what I found out in Connecticut, in places like Meriden, Wallingford, and period, you grow up, you get to love. I'm not negating that. But when you come and say, hey, this is who you are, and you kick against the print, it's like, hold up. This is basic knowledge that we should have in our household. I mean, I go in there and see white images all in my house. But if I go to a black house, I'm not going to see no images, or Chinese, or Arab, or other Southern people. Why only in our household we have these white images all around? Why? We don't want to talk about that. We want to evolve into something else we have no business into, but you can't evolve until you have an understanding. And we have no understanding.
All right, that's the point I'm making. I think that the evolution problem is that we've only been focusing on those things and not the higher aspects of what we need to be doing. That's the whole point that I'm making.
I understand that, but it's like this. How can I go to, if I'm in first grade, right? Or how can I go to first grade if I haven't done Head Start? Or how can I go to the fifth grade if I haven't completed the first grade? Mm-hmm. Or if I'm in grammar school, how can I go to grammar school if I haven't completed fifth grade? How can I be in high school if I'm not doing junior high?
That's where the elders come in. You have to be exposed to the conversation. Okay. You have to be exposed to the vibration. You have to put yourself in the room.
But
You know?
if you don't know these things, how can you go there? And what I'm saying to
No,
us
but
in
when it's
volumes,
right there, we won't allow ourselves to like.
well, it's not that we don't allow us. They won't let us.
No, Ken, I'm here, and like, all right. Sometimes we're talking, get into the frame of mind where, all right, our culture says that women should keep their mouth shut in most places, and even embedded in our society that when women start talking
That's
to
not true, though.
yeah to belittle what they're saying and to not value what they're saying as something that is needed within our culture, just like the elders,
When you say that, Virginia, you have
and
to
wait a
pinpoint
second,
coaches,
and
though.
the voice of the children,
What
excuse me.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm trying to understand.
For instance, we're talking, and when I interrupted you to make a valid point or even to reinforce a point you were making, you cut me off, and the point was,
I asked you what?
wait a
I'm not cutting you
second.
off. I'm asking you who
Yes,
is
you
it?
are.
I don't know what you're talking about, Regina. I'm trying to educate me. If you say who, then I'll tell you. I
How
don't know
can
what
I
you're
if
talking
you
about.
keep talking over top of me?
I
It's
said
more
who?
important for you to bark and spark off. Like you're getting off at being
I'm
loud.
just trying to learn. I'm not loud yelling. I'm just trying to learn. So you say people, what people? I'm saying who? If an audience, they say who you talking about? Because you rambling, I'm saying who this? You saying
I wasn't rambling. I was actually making a point. And the point that I'm making now, above all else, is that you don't give me the same respect that you give yourselves.
Take a tell off.
Yeah, it will.
Okay.
Okay, you men demand respect. And the people that are making the rules, that's what I'm talking about, mentality. Okay?
What people? Because I don't know.
Like I said, it's not color anymore
Who's talking about
as
color?
much as the mentality of the people next to you. We have to raise our awareness that it's not just about these smaller things. What I was saying is people I'm talking about is what I'm talking about right now. All right? The mentality, men looking at women like we don't deserve the same value. What I'm saying is not as valuable. It's more like a gender battle of energy, an ego thing, instead of we're having a conversation that could bring enlightenment and a vibration of change, to our community as melanated people, instead of the challenge of all this other stuff that's not necessary. That's what I mean by when I say we have to change our mentality. And how do we do that without insulting each other? We rubbing each other the wrong way. You can't say nothing wrong. You can't be a woman and say something. You can't wear this the wrong way, or your education, where you're getting your information, the economy. All these crazy things are being taken into consideration that have nothing to do with bringing in higher thought and just giving ourselves an opportunity to grow. There's just so much hostility that is implanted in us as part of our program. So it's just easier, that saying, to talk to a stranger that doesn't know you than than the other one, that a prophet is never accepted in their own community. I think that's why everybody's online talking to the stranger, is because the people within their lives have we're all doing the same vibration, pushing away the very things that were meant to be the medicine. And that's the person next to us, to give each other the opportunity to put the freaking salve on, the ointment on, and to let it sink in. Dang.
I think that.
We keep putting salt on stuff. The opportunity to breathe. And do you know that if you think of some freaking just having you feel better about yourself and teaching that to the next guy, no matter what freaking color he is the best shot that you've got, because the anger vibration it spins, and all you do is get what you put in. And if that's all that I've got, that's all I'm going to get back. And those are the rules of this world. Not an individual race or an individual or a woman or a child. The things that are being degraded and misused, misinformed. Like, we're not appreciating our children when they say I'm going through incest. We're not appreciating our women when they say they're being abused. We're not appreciating our elders when they say, I have something to say that's of value. It's all about paying attention to things that are not going to profit us. I want to hear the elder. I want to help that child and hear that child's story. And the women have something to say. And the men are valuable and they're hurt. And I hear that. And that's what I want to address. How can we help the men feel better? Just individually. Is there something that I could do other than change the entire person that I am and puppeteer myself? Is there something that I can do? You know, the only thing that I know how to do right now is just be myself and share. Hopefully, you know, this ripple will rub off on you. Other than what the pounding that we're getting. But how I see how I can make what I can do. I know we're getting a pounding, but what can I do to make it better? Every day, it's like you hear wounded dogs cry. And every day they're there with their whips and their chains and their, you know, their stories, another story, another Tulsa story, another Wall Street story. It's happening. But what I know as far as higher law is concerned is that it's impossible to hear the suffering. Like, it's hard when a dog is crying or when something is suffering, you just want to hear it be quiet. Nobody wants to hear the person cry. It's just the tone and the vibration. So if I can find a way to get you to hear me without taking offense to it, that's the first start. And I go back to saying that our society, to me, is like one big bad marriage. And we're in this, to me, it's like we're in this divorce court. We're in therapy. We're talking about all the abuses and atrocities and things that happen. Now we want to separate. We want to, you know, we can't fix things.
So how long are you allowed to go on a rant? And we're supposed to be having a dialogue.
We're having a dialogue.
And you took over, and this is what's happening.
You could have just said what you needed to say, but instead you said that I was ranting in the same way you cut me off over there, and your point was that I was cutting you off, but you did it to me.
We cut each other off respectfully.
Take the opportunity. Don't complain is the point I'm freaking making. Right. Take the opportunity.
So, and it's good to hear that, and you play the tape, and let somebody hear, and we'll see a lot of the problem of I will have to feminize myself, to lower myself, to hear a woman, and what I'm saying respectfully, in a masculine spirit.
That's shameful.
And so what's happening is, when you look at all other 6 nations, I'm not talking about the abuse part. I'm talking about the part of the success of other nations today is a woman know her place. And so when you tell our people their place, they automatically go into a frenzy unless that of hierarchy tell them something, then they're calm. But
my place is the center of the universe because all man comes to woman. It's time to stop this silliness.
See how there it is right there. When the whole time you talk, you're able to
at the end of the day, you still. But okay, you know.
When I was able to.
As an individual, I'm respecting you, and I'm going back and forth. As an individual, I'm giving you the respect that you gave me.
If you play the tape.
As a woman, I shouldn't have to give you more respect than what you're giving me. As a child, I shouldn't have to give someone more respect than what they're giving me, or an elder, or any man. Is what I'm saying. It's mentality.
You just cut me off a little while ago.
I want you to see, because you said play the tape back. Yes, I'm showing my anger. Okay. I'm showing my dislike in the way that I want you to be able to see this when we turn that tape back. Is that you're demanding respect that you do not give, and this is the point I'm making that needs to stop. Me being a woman, I should be allowed to speak. You've been disrespectful. You asked to do this together, and then you pull that man rank thing in the same way the white man says, "Shut up! I'm the white man. And I have money. Economy speaks. The man speaks. The woman should shut up. Economy speaks. The man should shut up.
You talked about
forget about burning down Tulsa and Wall Street. Just shut up because I have economy. Shut up because you're a woman. I am aggravated at that.
But you were able to dominate and take over. This is the problem that we're having, right? And I'm glad, because probably the racist tape, but this is what happened. the man respect, and then when you didn't say nothing, you
I
started
won't erase it.
You pulled the trump card of, well, men abusing. It was talking about integration. And what happens is, especially like when she gets mad, if you say anything about we shouldn't integrate, we should stay with ourselves and build our own power structure first before we get into that, so we be able to protect ourselves. But when we integrate, it weakens us. It has weakened us to the point that men are feminized and women are masculine. They tell you shut your mouth up, and then they throw the emotional card inside saying, well, not all black men abuse our women. Because most of the time, women are raising boys to be men. How so?
Agree.
In the last 60 years since integration comes, women have been primarily raising from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, and now we're 18. Women are primarily raising boys to be men, and that's what's happening right now. So you don't got no men. I'm not talking about no abusive men, because our abuse that we have has been learned from our enemy. They're the one who rape and rob and pillage, and we don't deal with that. And it's the same thing going on right now.
Detail.
So when we talk about evolve, how can we evolve into something worse, into monsters?
Because that's the detail, and the solution is in our evolution.
When we look at the evolution, and you're right, you go to the evolution to long eyelashes and more of looking at.
See, that's insulting. I don't wear any of that
stuff. I didn't
stuff.
say you. I'm talking about in general of our women. If tomorrow, if a white woman calls something,
excuse me, but if you guys are only leaving us as a space, right? That's the only space you're leaving us. It's still you're still telling us to shut up and not valuing our opinion.
We never said shut
Why
up
develop an opinion if there's no space for it?
We never said
Would
shut
there
up
be
one time.
jobs for?
You don't tell you to shut up. The white man tell you to shut up subconsciously. You know why? Because you own everything. He tell you black ass ain't gonna get nothing. Get over there, shut your mouth up.
I think that we're missing this. And it's sensationalism has become something.
Sensationalism.
That's a medicine.
No, facts has become a medicine. If right now, if a person says I want to go open up my own
that's
school,
what facts build. It's like the locals.
If a family say they want to open up their own school right now, right? They say, well, you can do the thing where you can do the homeschool.
You're doing slippery slopes and stuff, you know.
And
then with this conversation, what's aggravating is that I want to bring the more psychology into it and the sociology into it that I can, because I do have the education and I can go grab my books and go get the references and stuff. But this is a conversation and it gets sticky because we bring our mentality in there and then we want to try to railroad stuff with these absolutes and stuff. They don't belong in there when you're really trying to make solutions. That's what I'm saying. And people use the same kind of design with behavior that's embedded in our society. That's why we got it messed up, and that's why I'm saying desperately that if we don't teach the people next to us the playbook, and this is why we keep spinning in our crap. This is more about sensationalism and about ego and about the male vibration that's throwing things off.
So sensational. What is sensationalism?
I'm respectfully going to end this because we're spiraling, and now you're smiling. You're just enjoying. You're enjoying the luge, man. Come on now. And it's so early in the morning, the sun's shining. I'm out.
This is what we do. I deal with facts.
Higher thought.
We do not need to integrate.
Higher thought is higher thought. I don't care what you do. You can't reach it if you don't got it. And so in this tape,
white people can't help me.
Right, the white people again. Right.
All six nations.
They can't help you.
All six nations. The Arabs, white, they can't help. They can teach me how not to be black and run for my people by going back and looking at the things that have crippled me and have me crippled within my family and have my women leading us. It's right. We have women. Our women are leaders now. And if you say anything, they go into the abuse that the slave. But when you want to talk about abuse, you got to go to the other nations first. And then you say, okay.
Every one of us have a responsibility right now to be the best we can be.
When they shoot our kids down, what do we do? What do we do? When a man loses his job because of the color of his skin or his race, what do?
We try to talk to our men. We women are the culture bringers. We help to change.
You're right. But the fact of you're
when we're allowed,
you're allowed. No, you're allowed to bring them because most women.
How am I allowed when you didn't even want to hear me speak? And then when I did speak up, I was being compared to a woman, and you're a dominant male. You're not even looking me in the eye. You're standing there all crazy and stuff.
Our women are raising our children. You're right. But our children are monsters today. They have no respect. Our little kids are dressing like little prostitutes. Our boys are dressing like little women. You're right. The women in the 50 years raised our children, and look what we have right now. Can't say no. Man can't sit down.
Kenny, has the male alternative actually come up with?
It's the male force.
Come up with a solution, or are you just
Yeah.
making noise?
No.
Talking about the problem.
Go back to the Lord.
Where are the solutions for our
Go back
youth?
to the Lord. Go back to the Lord.
The solutions
You
for
ask
our
me.
youth come
Our
by
Lord.
addressing
Lord.
the issues that the women have,
Laws.
that the elders have,
Laws.
and that the children have.
Our elders are fools today. They have no. You go to the elder right now.
Ken, you're not even respecting what is in front of you, and you don't even realize
What are
it
you
because
talking
of the
about?
mentality that's been accepted in our society.
So how did I disrespect you? Tell me.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
asking you. There it is right there. I asked you, we having a general conversation. You didn't like
This
what I
is a
said.
general conversation.
Absolutely. And
Why?
you didn't
Because
like-
you're the man?
We keep going
Or
on man
because
and
you
woman.
have money?
Money? What money?
Like I said before,
Wow.
men have been pushed into a position of female submission within our society. Because you
You're
don't
a
have
abused
economy.
woman. You're an abused woman. You're abused. You're abused for the fact of your childhood. That's where it comes from. And then as it go on, men have came into your life and did what they did. But you only let them do what you like. They have strong women right now that don't crap. Well, this happened to me. They stand up. I stand up as a man, not to be abused. Hey, look, they have are we held accountable for it? Absolutely. We are held accountable. We meant it's our fault that we didn't stand up and our ancestors to take the laws. Do not lie. Those are the things. If I don't lie, guess what? It kills. If I don't steal, it helps out. If I'm not committing sexual misconduct, it cures our whole community because then I can take your child and say, your child's going to come with me. I got him. Not the child's going to molest it or
Right,
break
you can
anything.
always name another problem.
You said lies.
Always.
I just got through saying something. If you're not lying, stealing, or when a woman get on the first thing she do, that look good. What are you looking at another man like that for? Sexual misconduct. Did you lie? This is what we do. I do.
Yes.
But
that's
in
why I'm
Israel,
looking at you like the stuff you
I'm
be
talking
saying,
about-
you be doing.
But I'm saying though, you said cure.
Just change it. Don't talk
Sure.
about it. What is
But
going
no,
on?
if
I said mentality.
We have to change. Not just me. If I didn't lie today, you didn't lie today. It cures. But what we want to do, we want to live in our lives. We want to steal. We want to have
And
sexual
how are you
misconduct.
going to fix your aggression
We don't
that
want
you're
to do that.
feeling?
What you is we talking? I'm a man. If I speak loud, I can't. I put. Oh well.
Everything has to be subject to you because you're a man.
We talking about
Should
men,
everything be
black
subject
men,
to the white man because of
black
the economy?
men. You keep talking about the white
I'm
man.
making
saying
parallels that should be heard and understood
communities.
with,
Healing.
when you have a consciousness to be able to receive them
put
or
on
a
Trump cards.
vibration to receive them.
You put on Trump cards because you have to say.
Ain't Trump ain't in here right now.
No, you know what a Trump card is.
Yeah,
what I'm
I know
saying,
what
I
you're
gave you a
talking about.
solution. You did not like it, and I gave you 5.
If it's a Trump card, it's that the woman
Right.
is the center of the
You say-
universe, the one that
Okay.
brings the knowledge of the community
You're right.
to the people.
And look at our community. You're
She
right.
needs to be allowed to do that.
She's doing that.
The woman is the center of the universe.
talking
You
about
men
which one.
always come
But
to the
you're right.
women.
But you're right. But without the man planting the seed, there is no universe. The universe is there while the seed being planted.
It's
There's
built
nothing.
by
It just,
design.
you know what? It's just light.
You give me such
It's
a
just
headache.
light. It's just light and dark. No, you don't like truth.
If anybody wonders why I meditate so much, this
Listen,
man,
you don't
20
like truth.
freaking
And when I
years,
spoke
I'm
truth, guess
telling
what
you.
you did? You ran away from it.
I didn't run. I'm
So
sitting
when
right
I
here.
said just a whole solution in our communities, 5, do not lie, steal, sexual misconduct, and guess what?
Right, you're
the
repeating
black
that.
man, the black woman, she's guilty of that, big time. And when you tell her that, she don't want it. She's mentally having sex
And
with
like
a
you
slave.
said, you yourself who keep repeating that, do
It
it.
goes for me too.
Okay.
But what I'm saying,
What
I'm
is the
sure,
solution?
do obey those laws. You keep talking about universal law. Universal
Okay.
law, we have no power on universal law but to
Excuse
respect
me.
it.
Where is the space for those laws to expand if there's nothing else there?
It must be moral conduct before you respect. The whole ideal, that's why the laws were given to us, the 12 tribes, that we go and conduct ourselves to show the whole world what not to do. There will be no nuclear missiles because we know how to build nuclear missiles already. You understand what I'm saying? But because they have that right there, their power is only going to be their destruction. And for those who don't recognize and have that consciousness to go on and behave, so it would be nothing wrong with that if a person would go in there and tell the truth. And stop stealing ideals and bring people down. It would be no problem. Guess what? When you bring that to our women who are in you say, hey,
Why are
they
you
lie
so
today.
angry though? You're just so angry.
What are you talking
Dang.
angry? Did you just hear yourself? If my anger is because of my oppression. Biblically says we are angry because of the
Exactly,
oppression.
and that's why I said
So-
you can't keep sitting in that. That's why you don't get
We're not
nowhere.
sitting.
I spend my days trying to lift the self up, and you spend it pulling it down in the other direction, paying
Stop.
attention to every flaw. It's
Every flaw.
crazy, and this is what's happening to our people in general. That's why I
Are
said
we in
comparing
war?
it to a marriage.
Are we in war? Are we in a spiritual
Yes,
war?
we definitely are.
So if we're in a war, how do I not go ahead and get the army to fight the war? You tell me. I sit there and lay down.
By educating the man next to you, that's all you can do.
So
Or
if when I
woman,
do that and you
child,
don't like it, it's called
whoever will
rebelling.
listen that has the same frequency. So maybe it's like magnetism; it will stick, and those who can't hear, adhere.
See, that's where it goes at. Women are built to fight the wars like that. They're teachers. Women are teachers. And you know who they teach? They teach the children.
On the contrary, like
They
you
teach
said,
their
back
children.
when there are, not all men are abusive. Not our men, all of us are not on the same wavelength. You know.
But we should be.
No.
And when you say should be,
No, the world is meant for us to be a variety. That's the problem.
it is meant to be variety. The world is a variety. I totally agree with you. However, there are certain leaders that's supposed to say you don't do this.
My
right here.
hope is that the men that are designed to be able to hear this voice and know how to incorporate it and work with it and do what they do, those are the masterminds of the world and the universe. Those men who can hear in between all this stuff, you know, are what they call the music makers. They can hear the vibrations and the frequencies and see the BS and see, you know, the benevolent shit.
There is laws. There are
And rise
laws.
above the occasion.
Right. You cannot go university law. We have no control of the air and stuff like that. However, we're supposed to
On
be
the contrary,
the chosen people,
though, on
the chosen people
another
supposed to
level, we
be able to cultivate everything. Because if I cultivate the land, it's going to take care of the universe. If I
Yeah.
cultivate the water and the air, we don't pollute these things.
Right, and that's where we should be staying
But,
at, is
right,
figuring out how to keep
right.
those
But
things
who,
clean.
let me ask you something. Who's doing that? Me and you ain't doing that.
Right.
So it's the other people that doing it. And
Are you helping to educate people on not doing that, though, and
I'm-
staying there?
Yes, every day I'm going
Are
out.
you helping
You
to
asking.
develop water pure filters and
That's
things
not-
like that?
no.
Educate people about water
We're
and
talking about
stuff.
everybody has a different part.
And air.
That's what we come. Everybody has a different part that they get to do. For me,
Exactly,
and
the
I'm
part
a
that-
mouthpiece.
For what, though?
I'm a mouthpiece
To pay
open
attention
up.
to the flaws?
Everybody plays a part. I'm just one person that play a part. And over the 7 years, I understand that you keep talking about.
Yes,
laws
we are a
and more
machine
things.
and we all play a part. I agree.
And the whole idea is recognize what happened. Because history is everyday history of things you're not supposed to do. The history is how can we give reverence to our ancestors who caused us where we at today. We know that we're the greatest people on the
Yeah,
planet.
but Ken, you will be part of that stream, and everything that you are already is. In your blood, you know, is the voice of the ancestors. Even everything that you're saying right now still needs to be incorporated. It just needs to be put in the right place, you know, with the right temperament. There should be other sounds and rhythmic beats and stuff around the voice that you have.
But there are.
It shouldn't just be a screaming dog. You know what I'm saying?
screaming
That's the
dog?
point that I'm making.
I've never
The
screamed once.
anger, what I'm saying, this is a metaphorical. You know, nobody wants to hear a screaming dog lie, and we've been crying and upset for a very long time. Can we want to end this? Do you have a final point you'd like to make?
Yeah, the final point is we can never integrate with that which is self-destruction. Because we're loving and we keep protecting that, that's something that's been brought up and you've been bred with. For me right there, of course, the love that I have for humanity, I have that naturally. That's my natural instinct. But I'm also know that I'm in a spiritual warfare, you understand what I'm saying? I have to arm myself on a daily basis and put on the whole armor. I got to put on my the breastplate of righteousness. You know what I'm saying? I got to go ahead and gird my loins up. You understand what I'm saying? I have to put on the helmet into salvation. These things so that when a spiritual attack comes from me, my mind is sharp. It's not that hate or white. I don't care who you are, but I see. And you can't say, oh, take this way. You can't feed me poison and tell me to drink it. And they don't give me no antidote. Our people are dead. For the most part, and when you say something, it's the volume of whatever rule. That's why I ask and I go to the barber shop. I ask them, I say, who rules the household? And you know what they say? Oh, we do. No, women rule the household because they've been put there by our. I can talk moments I want. You cut that off. You dictate to me when I should stop talking. You know, I'm just saying that our women rule the household. However, our men, that's been placed and it's been ordained by the Most High for this point. You understand what I'm saying? So today, like when we playing this tape, we're talking for 62 minutes. And in 62 minutes, as we especially trying to talk because I get loud because I'm a man, my wife didn't like it. And it was, oh, men rule. No, we're just having a casual conversation about some feelings and emotions that is causing the demise of our household. And that's it.
Okay. Now, perception is all. And the point that I am making, is that's why mentality is the thing that's going to win the day. And yes, this is a spiritual war, and educating the person next to you on the different dynamics, because there's so many different dynamics to what's going on and the now to the spiritual war. There's so many different parallels and metaphors that you can use to be able to find the medicine, and there's medicine in every opportunity, so take what you need and leave the rest. This is Siren Buddha Medicine. That's what we women do. Much love to you and yours. I'm out.